Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Lian on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. If you want to live your dream life and become the best version of yourself, then this podcast is for you. I hope that I can inspire and encourage you to never give up and to always believe in yourself. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome back to this new episode, The Voices Inside Our Heads. You're probably wondering, what is she going to talk about? Is she okay? But what I mean with that, we all have voices in our head, we're always thinking. And I mean our thoughts. With voices in our heads, I mean our thoughts. And I would categorize our voices in two different categories, or in two different voices. There is the first one, the one that's really loud, the one that's full of doubts, and the one that's holding you back. And then there's this other one, this quiet whispering voice that's in the back of your mind, and that's actually your little cheerleader being oh, you should go for it. But anyway, I want to talk about this in today's episode, and I hope that I can inspire you. I hope that this episode can inspire you to start listening to your quiet cheerleader voice. So let's break it down again. So there is the first voice, the one that's very loud, the one that is holding you back, and the one that's doubting your full potential. And it's most likely the negative voice in your head, and the one that's kind of limiting you, and the voice that says, I think you shouldn't, or I wouldn't do that, or what if that happens? Or maybe she says something like, don't you think it's bad to do this and that? Or what if we go and do the easy way? Or what if we try the safe way? So don't get me wrong, the loud voice is the voice that wants to keep you safe, and the voice that wants to keep you in this box. Whereas the other voice, the one that's quiet and whispers and is I'd say the little wisdom or cheerleader that's cheering you on. That voice says, come on, get out of your comfort zone. I believe in you. I think you should go for it. And all these things. But the thing is, this voice is so quiet that we don't really hear it, or we try to ignore it, or the other voice is just so much louder, the one that says we shouldn't go for it. And therefore, we most likely listen to the loud voice. So how can you listen to the quiet voice? How can you make this quiet voice a little bit louder? I want to share 3 steps with you how you can do that, because I've been there. I know my loud voice. I know the voice that's doubting myself. I know the voice that's trying to keep me safe. But you know what? I go for it anyway, because I know that I have this cheerleader in me. The cheerleader that is go you can do it. And honestly, best thing I ever did. I listened to my cheerleader. The first thing is becoming aware of it. And with this episode, I hopefully made you aware of those 2 voices in your head, and that you have this one tiny quiet voice that is cheering you on and wants you to go for it. So step number 1 is spending time alone. We're living in a world where we're always connected. We literally have the internet in our pockets, our smartphones. We are always connected. We are always a message away, a phone call away. And that's great. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that, especially since I moved to the other side of the world. It's amazing that we can always be connected with our loved ones. But I really encourage you to take some time for yourself. And with that, I mean without your phone, without scrolling through social media. Literally, it's just you and your thoughts. And this brings us to the next point, journaling. Honestly, I love journaling. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love journaling. I just recently showed how many journals I had since I moved to New Zealand, and I think it's 9. So in the last 3 years, I journaled in 3 journals yearly. So I love journaling. Anyway, this is not about journaling now. I just want to share this as a little step to become aware of the voices in your head. This again sounds so weird saying the voices in your head, but you know what I mean. So what you do when you spend time alone, if you don't have a journal, grab pen and paper and write down just what comes into your mind, what you've been thinking about the whole day, or maybe even what you've been pushing away the whole day, because we are always distracted. We always have our smartphones. We don't really have to pay attention to our thoughts. So I really want to invite you to write down what's going on inside your head and to think about what you would like to focus on the next few weeks, like your goals and how you think about your goals. Because you can have goals and they're there, but how are you actually going to achieve them? And what are you actually thinking about those goals? Are you thinking, oh yeah, that would be really nice to achieve, but I think I can't do it? Because that's your loud voice talking to you. But if you really pay attention and listen to what your quiet voice is saying, the one that believes in you, you can do great things, honestly, if you start listening to the voice in your head that actually believes in you. And also here I wanted to say, don't get me wrong, you are neither the loud voice nor the quiet voice. You are all of that. And those voices are there and talk to you like that because of your experience and your values and what you believe in. But this is a really deep topic. I'm going to do another episode on that. But I just want to say, like, you're neither the quiet nor the loud voice. You're all of it, and you're so much more. So yeah, so please take my advice and start journaling. I can highly recommend it. And if you want to learn how to journal, please get in touch with me. I did a journaling intro course in the past, and I'm definitely going to do one again. So if you're interested in that, feel free to message me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, and I'd love to invite you to my next journaling intro course. And the next step is writing down. Again, this has to do with journaling, but that's the best way to do it. I mean, you could otherwise also record yourself saying those things, but I always recommend writing things down, because when you write things down, you think about them, you may even say them, and then you write them. It's like a whole learning process. So what I want you to do, or what I can recommend, I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but what I can really, really, really recommend is listing all the things that your loud voice is saying. Like all the negative things, like you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this, and you can't do this because of that. Like, write it all down, because once you write it down, it will make sense to you, or it doesn't make sense to you. Because once you write it down and you read something like, oh no, you shouldn't do it because you don't have the time for it, when you read it later on and you focus on your small, quiet voice, the one that's cheering you on, the one that wants you to do it, you will realize that you actually have the time to do it. You just use that as an excuse. So again, what I want you to do, or what I can recommend you to do, is writing a list with all the things that your loud voice is saying why you can't do things, or why you shouldn't do it. And then once you've done that, I want you to read it again, and then you move on and either write next to it all the things your quiet voice says why you should do it, why you should go for it. And then you will realize that you can actually do it. There's nothing that's stopping you. You yourself are stopping you. And all you have to learn is believing yourself. And once you've written down all the things that this quiet voice in your head is telling you, you will realize that you're made for greatness. Honestly, you were made to do these things, and it will make so much more sense to you once you've written it down, because then you see it, and this loud voice is not that loud anymore because you started focusing on the quiet voice. And when you then go back and read all the excuses you have from the loud voice, you can literally say, no, that's not true. Look, this other voice is saying this, and I can actually do it. I know I can. And yeah, that's just something I really recommend, like writing it down, because then it makes so much more sense to you. And it also doesn't make sense to you because then you're reading it and you're like, why am I thinking this? Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in today. If you like this episode and don't want to miss any new ones, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Feel free to share it with your friends or on social media. It really means a lot to me. It will help me to create this podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana. I'm always happy to connect, so flick me a message if you want. Enjoy the rest of your day, and always remember, it's a beautiful day to have a good day. It's a beautiful day to be alive.